Today, we can see very clearly that there is a lot of efforts from the Lagos axis to colonize this part of the country. Today, Lagos wouldn't allow us to choose our area. Lagos has to come to the center of Kano to put their own area at the center of the gradient.
Hello, good evening, esteemed viewers. This is Satellite Media. We are looking at the statement that is coming from Kwankwaso. Of course, Kwankwaso is the leader of the Kwankwaso movement, and he was the presidential candidate of the New Nigerian People's Party in the 2023 presidential election. We have seen crisis in Kano State, and currently, New Nigerian People's Party is the party ruling Kano State currently. But we have seen so many issues in the state of late, and the government of ANPP have accused the federal government severally of trying to muzzle the state, particularly on the issue that has to do with the Emirship tussle. But now we are seeing a Kwankwaso accusing Lagos, particularly of trying to muzzle Kano State. First of all, let us look at the areas of accusation. It has to do with the issue of imposing an emir on Kano State, because currently we understand that Kano State is having what we likely call two emirs, and another one has to do with the issue of taking away taxes from Kano State and other part of northern Nigeria back to Lagos, and this have accused Lagos State of trying to do. But we understand that when we talk about Lagos and when we talk about the political class in Lagos, the president, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, is the leader of the political class in Lagos State. Then he's equally talking about a situation where Lagos is somehow diplomatically forcing businesses, including banks, in some northern Nigeria to relocate their headquarters to Lagos State, as they were trying to take away northern taxes. But have you watched that video where Kwankwaso spoke directly, accusing Lagos State of trying to colonize northern Nigeria, particularly Kano State? Let us look at these issues he raised one by one. The issue of emirship tussle. We understand that by the nature of Nigeria, it is actually the state government that determines who an emir should be in a particular state, having received nominations from the ruling house. Of course, it behoves on the government to appoint one of those recommended by the ruling house. In this case, I think in Kano State, we have the Sanusi dynasty and Bayero dynasty. And it's understandable that the Bayero dynasty ruled for that state after the demise of the emir. Sanusi was appointed, and he was inaugurated as the emir of Kano State before he was dethroned by the government of the current national chairman of APC. I'm talking about Ganduje. But currently, since NNPP took over the state, the Kano State government have since reinstated Sanusi. And as we have it, the Bayero that was dethroned have been getting support, or what we call a federal might, federal backing, and he has stayed put in Kano State, meaning somehow there are two emir in Kano State even as we speak. And we are seeing a big allegation coming from someone who should know better. I'm talking about Kwankwaso, who of course is the one that saw Sanusi being appointed, or rather made Sanusi emir at the first instance. Now he's accusing Lagos, particularly of muzzling Kano State, imposing an emir on Kano State. And of course, we have seen the role that may have been played by some powerful, or the power from above. Because ordinarily, when you see a House of Assembly in Kano, the House of Assembly in Kano State amending the relevant laws that will empower the governor to tinker with the emirship, and you have seen a situation where the Emir was dethroned and Sanusi was reinstated. But before you knew it, we have some court cases, court injunction, counter injunction, have Bayero being backed by federal forces, coming back to the state, staying put, and in what looked like the state government being handicapped, because we understand that it is the federal government through the office of the Inspector General of Police that controls the police. Of course, all the paramilitary agencies are controlled directly by the president, because the president is the president and the commander of the armed forces. And this is done through the office of the National Security Advisor, who superintends over all the affairs of all the paramilitary agencies. But as we have it, Bayero is staying put in Kano State. And Sanusi himself, who have been recognized legally by the state institution, by the state government, is still in the main palace of the Emir of Kano. But let us quickly remember that before the Sanusi, before Ganduje left office, he broke Kano Emirate into 5 different emirates and appointed 5 different emirs. But this current government has since collapsed it into one, though I think there is a move by the government to return to the 5 emirates. But the major issue of that contention is that of Sanusi, and of course I think that is the mid Emir of Kano State. Whether Sanusi should remain in office, remain on that throne, or the Bayero of a person should be the one that is right to occupy that position. That is one area of the allegation coming from Kwankwaso, accusing Lagos of imposing an emir on Kano State, of trying to colonize northern Nigeria. And this allegation for me is a big one, because however I look at it, I think we are running a democracy, and democracy strive on rule of law. And when you're talking about rule of law, each state have this, the laws that govern them. And let me quickly remember that in the time when Sanusi was made emir in the first instance, Jonathan was the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria then. Though Jonathan had an issue with Sanusi, he may not be comfortable with Sanusi becoming an emir, but there was nothing he could do, because it was not under his purview to determine who becomes an emir of Kano State. Because whether he liked the face of Sanusi or not, he doesn't have any power to determine whether Sanusi become the emir of Kano State or not. But currently, we're in a situation where, according to the leader of Kwankwaso movement, I'm talking about, according to Kwankwaso himself, Lagos is trying to colonize Kano State. Lagos is trying to colonize northern Nigeria. He equally raised another issue that has to do with taxation, that in some cases, you will see their daughters and their sons from Kano State, from northern Nigeria, coming with the idea of floating a bank or companies. That in some cases, you will see the powers that be forcing them to relocate their headquarters to Lagos State for obvious reasons. Of course, I think this is not far-fetched, so that the revenue in terms of tax that accrues to government from that private sector comes to Lagos State. But let me use it to buttress the fact that even in the oil and gas industry, we understand that Niger Delta is where you have major oil and gas in Nigeria. But come to think of it, all the headquarters of all the oil majors are in Lagos State. Are you talking of ExxonMobil? Are you talking about Chevron? Are you talking about Shell? They all have their capital in Lagos. So if that is the reason, if the reason is to ensure that they sit on the taxes of these companies at the expense of the area where the resources is being located by Providence, I think it is something that the citizens need to address. Because if God is giving any particular area any natural resources, it is in the wisdom of God that He gives to that area, and I think they should benefit from it adequately as it is given to them. Then we are equally looking at another area of allegation. I think he is equally charging northern senators, northern lawmakers, not just senators, to rise to the occasion and defend the interests of the North. Let me say that it is not just coming from Kwankwaso. We have seen a situation where Senator Ndume from Borno State equally raised the alarm. We are talking about this the bill that came from the president, and talking about the tax reform bill that federal government through the office of the president sent to National Assembly to reform the taxation system, the how tax are being collected. And we understand that as part of effort to stop that bill, the Northern Senators, Northern Governors Forum, even at the level of FEC, have advised the president to withdraw that bill for more consultation. And the president, in his wisdom, has said, no, I am not withdrawing the bill. If you have any input, go and engage at the level of National Assembly. And the Northern Senators, through Nduma, is saying that bill is going to be dead on arrival because it is against the interest of the North one. And again, that this is not the time, or rather the best time, to start talking about taxation in that regard. But for purpose of those that may not know some major content of that bill, I think the one that stands out has to do with the issue of value-added tax. We understand that currently value-added tax is at the rate of 7.5%. But if that bill says true, by January, we might be seeing value-added tax increasing to up to 12.5% or so. And if that bill continues to, if that bill says true, the projection is that by 2029 or 2030, the value-added tax would have increased significantly, close to 30%. So for me, speaking in the regard of the hardship Nigerians are facing and the issue of that bill before National Assembly, I think this is where patriotism counts, because it is irrespective of whether you are a Northerner, you're a Southerner, you're a Southwesterner, a Southeasterner, a South-South person. What is important is this bill necessary at this point? What has the government done to cushion the effect of all the policies that have rolled out on Nigerians? Because you cannot take away the fact that Nigerians are suffering. Of course, I think that is fundamental, that is basic. And the reason of the suffering is not far-fetched. Because the moment Mr. President Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu said during that inauguration that subsidy is gone, that statement alone came with so many implications. The implication is that the price of PMS skyrocketed. And we all know the impact of price of PMS in our economy. Of course, it have multiplier effect. And we have since seen price of PMS rising to 1,000 and above. I'm talking about the price of PMS a liter at the filling station. So the government, as a matter of urgency, need to look into this because the issue is clear. The Constitution, I think Section 14 of 1999 Constitution has amended, is very clear on this, that the welfare of Nigerians and their security shall be the primary purpose of governance. So if that is true, I think the welfare of Nigerians and the security is not being taken into consideration by this government, looking at how the government is going about all this drive for revenue. And it's not that the government have been talking about that they need more money. Nobody's arguing that the government did not need more money. Of course, they have said that before this government came on board that we're using about 97% of our national earnings to service loan. And since the reform came on board, I'm talking about this government of Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, that have reduced the percentage of our national earnings that are using to service loan to about 68%. Even as you do that, I think the welfare of Nigerians should be prioritized. You cannot do that at the expense of welfare of Nigerians, because we are seeing so many Nigerians going into depression, so many Nigerians committing suicide, so many Nigerians who could not cope with the economic hardship. Of course, so many untold hardship coming the way of Nigerians and the behavior of the government to protect lives and property that you cannot take away. Then I think at this point, the government, as a matter of urgency, should look at the plight of Nigerians. We understand that the last time there was protest, the government arrested even minors. A situation where the appearance in court was a major issue globally, because when the world saw the picture of those that were arrested, that were charged for treason, of course, I think that was the reason the government shamelessly, if I should use that language, withdrew the case and allowed the children to go. Even as Attorney General of the Federation have said that there's no law that prohibits federal government from prosecuting minors. But if you look at the nitty-gritty of what transpired, they were kept in the same prison where criminals are kept, and I think our laws frown at this. But I think this is a good place to let it go. I must say a very big thank you. This is Satellite Media, and I'm Mr. Matthew. Thank you very much.